Welcome to Phil and Ted's Sexy Boomer Show.
Yeah, get on the microphone. You've been away too long.
Oh, hi. Oh, there I am.
There you are.
There I am. It was just 10 feet away.
Yes, right.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, Ted.
Well, how was your summer?
It's over.
Yeah, it sure is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good to be here. Welcome to the fourth season
I can't believe it.
of Phil and Ted's Sexy Boomer Show.
The fourth season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
And what do we still have an election? We still have
right.
I don't know what happened. I must have left the planet, but Trump is still neck and neck.
So, yes.
Pencil neck to
Pencil,
neck.
geek. Pencil neck geek.
And wow.
Oh, it's horrific.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I read a book called Autocracy, Inc. It's very popular right now.
Yeah.
It's only 160 pages.
Autocracy is very popular.
Autocracy is very popular, too, and very populist. And I have to say, if you want to kind of understand contextually why we're in the situation we're in, because of the state of the world and how autocracies are gaining on democracies, and that it accounts for, do you know the money in autocracies, the dark money, it accounts for about 10% of the global GDP.
Yeah, and I understand that if you buy the book, that money goes to the dark money fund.
Speaking of money, because it's our fourth season, we have a new show, we have a new budget.
Yeah.
Come here, I want to show you something, because we're doing a show today about Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, we have two guests today, too, to kick off the show.
Yes, because there's a show.
Dan Duling and Michael Arabian, and they're responsible for a show about Tesla.
Yeah,
who people are all fascinated by, and we're going to talk about that.
You know, and they're promoting the fact that they have a Tesla coil that they're.
What do you mean?
You know, the machine.
Yeah.
You know, you see in science fiction films.
So they have one.
And since not everyone is going to be able to get to the show, we have it here.
You brought it here?
I brought it here because
did they know that?
I didn't tell them.
It's very hard to find them.
Anyway, you want to try it? I plugged it in, and I thought we'd do a stunt, you know, to start the season with.
Okay.
Which is we'll fire up this Tesla coil, and to celebrate the fourth season, here's a cigar.
Oh, thank you.
And I thought maybe you should light the cigar with the Tesla coil.
This is a Cuban cigar. Oh, no, it's a Cubano cigar.
Cubambo.
That's right. It's a Cubambo.
So should we do it?
Well, whatever. I'm going to light the cigar on the Tesla. Wait, let me unwrap it.
First, we got to start it.
Okay, hold on.
Do you have a quarter?
What?
Do you have a quarter?
What's a quarter?
Because it's
really. What is that?
Wait a minute.
It's coin op.
All right. Yeah. I do. Oddly enough.
Just drop it in the slot.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now pull the lever.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Now get the cigar.
Squeeze that cigar.
Yeah, go ahead. Now stick the cigar in. Try to light it.
Take the cigar.
Go not too close. Your beard is on fire.
No.
Go, no, try it. Try it. One more.
Wow! Oh, wow! That blew up in my hand like a pager.
Like a bad gag.
Well, that was ridiculous.
That was a bad gag.
Well, come on.
It's what a mess we're going to clean up here. We're going to have to raise some money next week.
But we really are going to be talking about Nikola Tesla and Tesla coils.
Actually, talking about Tesla coil, let me just throw this in before we forget. The largest one in the world, I think in the world, is the observatory up in Hollywood.
Oh, really?
And they run that thing every day.
Really?
It's as soon as you enter the main entrance, it's in a huge glass booth up to the right. And they fire that thing up. And it's totally within this glass. So the electrodes that go off, the electricity goes all over that space.
Ooh.
But it can't travel outside the little room that it's in.
Okay.
This is Michael Arabian, our guest today, who is directing Tesla, a radio play for the stage. Written by Dan Duling, our other guest.
There he is.
And it's Caltech is presenting it, their Open Doors series.
Correct.
And it's only running for 3 days. I've been wanting to see this show since you did it years ago.
With me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You were in it.
Yes.
I played the evil genius, Thomas Edison. Thomas Alva Edison.
And you were fabulous, Phil.
Thank you. I was fabulous.
So what we're going to talk about,
you,
we're going to talk about today is not only the play and how you're presenting Tesla's life, but also we're going to talk about Tesla himself, the great enigma, the great mind of the 20th century.
As opposed to Elon Musk.
Elon Musk did name the company. Well, he didn't buy the company. I mean,
No,
he
it
didn't
was-
originally start the company.
Started with somebody.
He
two
didn't.
people.
He did not name it Tesla, right? It was he purchased it as Tesla.
That's right. And thank goodness for that. Then no one would even know about Tesla.
You think?
Yeah.
No, I think Tesla's evolutionary interest value really has picked up in
Yeah.
the last
Oh, for
20 years,
for sure.
regardless of what
Regardless.
Elon Musk did.
Yeah.
What do you
Tesla
think
was-
accounts for him suddenly becoming popular, or better known, I should say?
Well, one of the theories that I have.
Nikolai Tesla, by the way.
No, it's no I in it, is it? It's
No,
Nikola.
it's Nikola.
Nikola.
Yeah.
Nikola.
You say Nikolai.
Yeah.
I say Nikolai.
I say Nikola.
But I was going to say is when I was originally researching it, the way I best could describe the relationship between Edison and Tesla was that Edison was an inventor who was creating appliances for the 20th century, while Tesla was experimenting and imagining the technology of the 21st century. And so much of that has come to bear, and the greater interest in Tesla that has happened in the last 2 decades, coupled with a couple of films, with an American Masters series, with much more coverage in the Wikipedia entry. None of that was available to me when I was starting my research, except his writings. And his writings were the source for really the impulse to want to do it.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Yeah.
not only did he invent alternative current, which made life and electricity much more practical.
Right,
It was
practicality
huge.
is the-
But he was in competition with Thomas Edison because he was a contemporary, and he was DC.
Right,
You know?
and the war of the currents is a big part of the
Yeah.
play. It's
Yeah.
at least a third to half of the play is that relationship and antagonistic battle between Edison's attempt to take control of the power business.
We could have done an elephant gag.
Yeah.
You know, it's radio.
Well, the
right?
GOP is like
Well, it
killing
was
itself.
horrible. Of course,
is-
I'm referring to that
Yes.
grotesque smear campaign.
Yes,
Where-
when Edison was definitely despicable, and it was borne out later in some of his attempts to monopolize the film business, basically by shutting
Yeah.
down anyone and essentially
He claimed
inadvertently-
complete ownership.
he
of motion picture
created
industry.
Hollywood.
Hollywood
We-
by virtue of people escaping.
Yeah, otherwise we'd be doing this from Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, you're still doing it on radio, so
The War of the Currents. That's a good title. The War of the Currents.
I didn't make it up. It's been used.
Oh,
But
wow.
for people who are going, what the hell was the elephant thing about?
Okay.
One of the grotesque things that Edison did to smear Tesla, to say that Tesla's technology was dangerous.
Right. He wanted to make the case that AC as opposed to DC was really dangerous to humans and other forms of life. And so he went on a campaign to draw public attention to the dangers of alternating current, essentially purely for making a case that his DC, which was very ineffective and prone
Inefficient.
to
Yeah.
blowing up. There were frequent explosions in
Generators.
New York caused by the AC. I mean the DC current production just being overwhelmed by the way it was designed. But when it came down to Edison versus Tesla, one of his most outrageous stunts to say that this is dangerous was to take an elephant and have a public event where they attached electrodes to manacled chains around the legs of the elephant and electrocuted the elephant to make the case that alternating current is much more dangerous. Whereas and they also created the first electric chair also as another way of making the case for.
Oh, that's how the electric chair came about.
It was part of the evolution of the electric chair, and it was another thing that Edison saw the chance to make a public spectacle of just how dangerous.
Yeah, he wanted
What a
to.
guy.
People who used AC were dumbos. It's basically.
Yeah, it's been a long.
What?
Ba-dum-bum.
What, did you
It's
say
been a
something bad?
long 4 months, hasn't
Hey,
it?
born in a trunk. You know?
I've been waiting to say that for 4 months.
We have a video actually in the show of the elephant being electrocuted.
Oh, no.
So audiences will actually get to see it.
Oh, Jesus.
So Edison was in the early stages of developing motion pictures, so he did, and they
filmed
filmed
it.
they filmed
good
it.
grief.
I mean, it's a archival footage. It's not
Yeah.
great shape, but
Yeah.
it makes the point, and it's certainly
does.
a moment in the show that audiences rarely forget if they weren't aware of it already.
Maybe as a stepping off point to talk more about Tesla, because he was such an interesting cat. I mean, just what a life.
Yes.
And but how do you package such a huge story into a play that the conceit, Michael, is it's like an old-fashioned radio play?
Well, not old-fashioned.
No.
This is an old-fashioned radio play. what Michael is doing is a little bit more modern.
Actually, what I'm doing, nobody's done what I'm doing actually before.
Good.
Radio was really, you're in a studio and you've got actors moving about and you've got sound effects that are creating all the atmosphere, everything that's going on. So
And
it's
music.
for just a listening audience.
Right.
And it's a great art form, and I love it. So here we're doing it for a live audience, but it's still written as a radio play. So I'm doing a lot more staging behind the microphones. We still have the actors behind microphones as if they are on radio. And but I'm doing a lot of theatrical staging, but behind the mics. We've got projections because the script is written like a screenplay. We go to many different locations, many different characters.
Oh, cool.
We have 6 actors playing over 50 parts.
Wow.
So to help the audience know what location we're in, we have projections that show those locations.
Right.
And then, of course, we have a live sound effects artist on stage doing all the sound effects
Who
live.
is that? Who's you have?
Tony
Palermo.
Tony Palermo's still at it, eh? Okay.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
been doing
I'm
it
so glad.
many
I was
years.
afraid he was going to retire after the.
Oh, good.
But it's really extra fun because I had 2
a
agendas
great
with
combination.
this decision to make it into a radio play. One, I had seen David Mamet's The Water Engine, which is also set in a radio studio where they are doing a live show. And I saw the theatricality of the special effects performance as well as the ways in which it has the natural interest value, and you can also compress time or accelerate time because you're having that double illusion of, well, we're supposed to be just
we're
hearing
listening,
it,
right.
but we're actually seeing what's going on as well.
Yeah.
And what, as the writer, what is your takeaway for the audience? What is it that you're wanting them to walk away that they didn't
I want
know?
them to walk away with the sense that this was one of the most unique individuals to ever walk this planet, and yet his story ultimately is very human and very, in some ways, tragic, but also he suffered from a tragic flaw as well, and you want the audience to come away wanting to know more about Nikola Tesla. And I think because it's such a vast story and there are so many elements of it, one of the things that initially intimidated and almost overwhelmed me was when the story of his life is told from beginning to end. It has a wonderful arc upward to his most notoriety and celebrity in the early 20th century,
Right.
to a spiral downward to the last 17 years of his life, essentially being a recluse, an eccentric, and someone who was marginalized. So someone who was as famous as Edison in 1900 was completely forgotten by the time he died.
Amazing. I mean, he was in the New Yorker Hotel.
Yes.
He was a recluse there. He had a love affair with a pigeon.
Well,
Or is that
yes, that would be the height of his eccentricity.
Yeah,
And there have been stories and theories because he was compelling, and at the same time, he was attractive to people who liked.
Well, he was in his prime. He was a bon vivant. He was in the New York scene.
Incredibly
he was
charismatic.
very charismatic, and he had ideas like wireless power. transmitting power wirelessly. I mean,
right.
I think that's his greatest enigma, right? And I've read books, I still don't quite understand the whole story. I mean, I know that he attempted to do this on Long Island,
right, with the
Wardenclyffe, which didn't last.
Didn't last, and was the money was pulled out from under it before it had a chance to fully test. But I don't think it would have worked entirely successfully because he was focused on transmitting power through the ground, and being able to get it around the world through the ground. And he had two of his real mistakes, I guess you would call them, were focusing on what you could do in transmitting through water and what you could do in transmitting through ground. But he imagined the idea of wireless power through the air as well, but the technology really wasn't there for that. And he was in many cases trying to imagine the fully technological realization of something that didn't have the technology to support it. So you're really a dreamer at that
Science
point.
fiction.
But didn't he develop something for boats, though? The boats were able to communicate?
Well, that was part of his story, was that the battle for basically J.P. Morgan wanted to have the first wireless telegraphy between boats at sea. Essentially, he wanted to be able to communicate with his yacht out there, and back on ground. Marconi had an idea. Tesla had an idea. Tesla was not interested in this little scheme that Marconi was trying to pull off. He wanted to do something that would show even greater potential. It was like, that's a stunt. But Tesla was looking at the bigger picture and what would be possible to literally make communication with Europe possible, to make communication with the other side of the world possible.
Using Morse code?
Well, Morse code was going to be the initial way that it would take its form, but in his ambitions for Wardenclyffe and other ways of making his cases for this, he wasn't focused just on the win. And J.P. Morgan, not unsurprisingly, as one of the great capitalists of America, was focused on the win. And when he didn't win, Morgan essentially pulled the rug out from under him. And it's not as simple to say that he was driven by his ego, because he wasn't doing it just to try to beat Marconi. He wasn't interested in Marconi. One of the things he said when Marconi was given credit for the invention of radio was, of course he wants to be able to do radio. He's using 7 of my patents. And later, after he died, and I find this yet another of the many ironic twists of Tesla's life, the U.S. government, shortly after he died, awarded the invention of radio not to Marconi but to Tesla.
Wow.
And the reason being that they owed all of these royalties to Marconi, that during the war, because he died during the World War II, they effectively wiped away all of those debts owed to Marconi. And Tesla was dead.
Long ago I interviewed Marconi's granddaughter.
Okay. Wow.
And she was very adamant that her grandfather, I believe it was a grandfather, it was certainly a relative, grandniece or granddaughter, and she was adamant that, of course, that her grandfather invented radio.
Right.
Of course, it was not even a discussion. But that wasn't the case. And didn't Tesla just didn't seem interested in ego like that? I mean, didn't he sign over so much of his interests over to was it Westinghouse?
Westinghouse, yes. He hitched his wagon, shall we say, to Westinghouse's belief in alternating current.
This was to bolster him against Edison's pushback.
Right, and also to win the first big power contract at Niagara Falls, so that they could then make that the basis of a national attention and promotion of accelerating current. And when Edison started to put the screws on in terms of competition, he was also going after Westinghouse's sources of funding. And Westinghouse was in the catbird seat for a short time and had made all of these promises to Tesla, which would have effectively guaranteed him the monies to do the research that he'd always wanted to do for the rest of his life.
Wow.
But Edison managed to make the environment, the financial environment that Westinghouse was trying to survive in, so intolerable that Westinghouse went to Edison and said, or to Tesla and said, I can't do this as much as I would like to, but we're going to lose all the money and you won't be able to do any of the things that we had hoped to do together. Whereas if you can agree to eliminate these promises that I made to you as far as the funding of alternating current, we might still be able to battle with Edison. And this was one of those pivotal moments where Tesla's loyalty to Westinghouse and appreciation of the loyalty that Westinghouse had shown to him made him make the decision to essentially tear up all of his contracts with Westinghouse.
I'll be darned. Wow.
And it's,
Edison was such a bully.
I mean, do you think that Edison is primarily responsible for Tesla's lack of success?
He wasn't primarily. He was certainly competitive initially.
Must have had a terrific psychological effect on him, you know?
Absolutely. And I think it was much more of a competition for Edison feeling the pressure of here's a real genius versus here's someone. I think it's really this. Edison would use trial and error. He would pick up the piece of straw in the haystack and say, no, that's not it. Where's that needle? No, that's not it. Whereas Tesla would create a machine that would track the magnetism of the
needle.
So
he was a visionary, a futurist.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And he was a little bit too far ahead of his time.
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
And he paid that price too.
Again, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he came from Eastern Europe.
Yes, he was a Serbian who was born in a village in Croatia. And he was very proud of his Serbian heritage. And just in terms of the extraordinary mental capacity that he had, he always gave his mother and his three sisters major props for their both mental faculties and also for the ability, which he believed they all shared, of being telepathic and having the ability to communicate with one another. He went to Europe largely because he got a message, picked it up, in his mind that she was unwell and he wanted to be there for her. And throughout his life, he credited the women in his family as being really the truly gifted ones.
So we're talking about extrasensory perception.
Extrasensory perception as well.
I knew you were going to say that.
That he was going to try to create practical applications. Was he trying to bridge that?
No, that really was just
a personal thing.
He took that as a personal gift, a gift of his mental ability that he had inherited from his family.
Right.
And he was also not a perfect human being in terms of his ambitions to use his skills he practically got thrown out of school for basically playing poker throughout his college career until they said, you're going to have to leave the school.
How did he get over to America?
He came over with the recommendation of one of Edison's partners in Europe.
Yeah, he came over to get working with Edison.
Yes,
He was hoping to work with him.
Right.
So he had a reputation in Europe at that time.
Right, and basically Edison's partner in Europe sent him to the United States with a letter to Edison saying,
"Isn't that interesting?
There are two men that I've known who have extraordinary abilities. One is you, Thomas Edison, and the other is this young man."
Wow.
And so Edison eventually invites him to work for him, and then that's the first person that he runs into sort of the darker side of capitalism.
Does he realize, Edison, that Tesla is more of a threat because of his brilliance at that point? Or
Not at that point, because he's always being sort of inundated with new young geniuses.
Yeah.
So he's unimpressed with anything. The letter from his friend holds a little water, but if this young man is going to prove anything to him, it's going to be by what he can actually do for Edison.
And eventually they came to loggerheads over something, right? I think Edison wouldn't embrace what Tesla wanted to do, and Tesla just wouldn't stop. He just wouldn't relent.
There was a discussion about ways that Tesla could improve the productivity and the effectiveness of Edison's electrical apparatus. And Edison said, well, if you could do that, if you could make all of these improvements, that'd be worth $50,000.
Right.
And Nikola Tesla took him at his word and spent the next 7 months working night and day to make all of those improvements and basically riding Edison's engineers and saying, no, it can't be close. It has to be exact. This is the way I have seen how this works. If you're off even this much, you're not going to have the kind of reliability and productivity and functionality that you need to have. And when he finally completed that and he brought his findings in and his record of everything that they had achieved, Edison was very impressed and said, well, that's really great. And said, well, I'm ready for my $50,000. And basically, Edison laughed him out of the room and offered him a small raise. And, here was a point where Tesla had every right to be a bit egocentric about what he had just been through.
Was he developing AC current? Was that what it was doing?
No. He was just trying to get on Edison's. Well, he was doing what he was hired to do by Edison to prove to Edison that he could be relied upon, that he wasn't, a crackpot, that he was really
proving himself
a
good
technological worker, more than a worker, wanting to basically say, and here, now that you know that I can do this, let me show you what I can do with alternating current. He brought it with him. He brought the whole plan that he would convince Edison that alternating current was the way to go.
You're listening to Phil and Ted's Sexy Boomer Show, our first show back. Our guest,
right.
Dan Duling, the writer of the Tesla, the radio play for the stage, which is going to be performed at Caltech stage next weekend.
No, the
4th, 5th, and 6th of
4th
October.
and 6th,
Yeah,
right.
4th,
and,
5th, and 6th.
and our other guest, Michael
Early
Arabian,
October.
who directed the production.
Now, the production that I was in was at the Pasadena Playhouse?
That was the Pasadena Playhouse. That was a benefit for Caltech.
That's right.
And just backing up a little bit, in 2013, when I brought the script back, an earlier version of it, but I brought it back as a radio play, I went to the first person I thought might be interested in it, which was Brian Brophy at Caltech, the head of the theater program there. And we've known each other for a long, long time. And I said, here, take a look. Let's give it a read. Tell me what you think.
You did that because he has BB initials and you have DD initials. You just knew it was going to work.
That's Phil. Gets to the bottom of
that's
all
what
this.
BB says.
We're all illiterate, or we're all illiterate.
So Michael, tell us about the cast of the show. It's a very interesting cast.
Oh, interesting is such an understatement.
Gregory Harrison, Dan Loria, Hal Linden.
Gosh, I worked with Hal so many years ago at the Mark Taper Forum when they did Monday nights at the Taper. And he's still doing it.
Still doing it.
Still doing
He's
it.
still
God bless
working.
him.
He's 90-something years old.
God
He's still
bless him.
working.
That's wonderful.
He really is amazing.
Yes, he is.
And we did it after the Pasadena Playhouse reading. They weren't part of that. Phil
No.
was only one part of that. Then we got a
And
production.
French Stewart.
French Stewart, yes.
French
I
Stewart,
was
yes.
going to get to French.
Yeah.
French Stewart, yes. I think he was discovered in this series, Third Rock from the Sun. I think that's where he was really
That's right.
discovered.
That's right.
So we got a production at the Laguna Playhouse a couple years after that, and it was so successful, everybody had such a good time, that when we did this this engagement, they all wanted to do it again.
What are the ambitions for the show? I mean, is it just going to be a limited thing, or are you hoping to take it another step? Or?
Yes, we're hoping that all the larger theaters in the LA area know about it, and they're trying to get there to see it. So hopefully it'll get picked up for a longer run.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
it deserves.
I'd just like to say, because I love the theater and have spent my life there, that doing this as a radio play was very cold-blooded as far as the theatricality of it, because what you can do is you don't have to wait for scene changes. You don't have to wait for costume changes.
Right.
You don't have to wait for makeup changes. You just blast it through. I call it at the speed of Sorkin, because it is a chance to give a modern audience the opportunity to play catch up, because most things you can get ahead of where this is going. This is familiar, but this, especially with wonderful actors like this, and I will just come back around for a minute to French Stewart, who I had known from small theater here in Los Angeles before his television career really took off. And from the beginning, from the minute that there was a chance of doing this, he was my first choice for Nikola Tesla, because he's a comic actor who can do drama. And if you get someone who is proficient at comedy, you just know that they will be wonderful at the dramatic side of things as well.
And he's been developing the Buster Keaton story, which is a perfect blend of those two elements.
Yeah, that production was written by his wife, Vanessa Stewart, and Vanessa is also in this cast, and it was in the cast in Laguna as well. And Vanessa is a tremendous talent, both as a playwright and a performer and a singer, and maybe we'll be able to have a moment of her singing in the show, which was not in the previous production.
Right.
But it's just the opportunities to work with people like this give you a sense of fearlessness and wanting to take risks. And
that is the beauty of radio. Radio is as fast as the mind can go.
There you go.
It's the most facile medium. Yeah.
It's an immersive form of
Tony
entertainment.
Palermo's sound effects, he's a master of it, and he is a theatrical show in himself.
Yes, he is.
And
very
a lot
talented.
of audiences have not been at a performance with a sound effects person performing on stage.
That's right.
You are looking at one of the great masters of it,
he really
and
is.
he really brings the show to life.
And this is going to be at the Caltech, is it Ramo Auditorium in Pasadena?
The Rommel Auditorium?
And it's, October
October
4th, 5th, and 6th. And also then the following weekend, you're going to be up in Big Bear.
Right. They're Performing Arts Center up there.
Wow. Okay, so how do people get tickets?
Go to the just go to the website at Caltech.
Oh, I see. pst.caltech.edu.
PST is Pacific Standard Time, the Getty's Arts Festival that's going on. So this was really an exciting thing that Getty picked this piece to.
You sure it's not Proctor Standard Time? PST? No.
My watch just stopped
let's
working
not forget
after
that.
you said that.
This is very important. The Getty did this a few years ago. It's a festival that's all over Southern California, that they give money to arts organizations and science organizations to support their theme, which is the collision of science and art.
Wonderful.
Very
so
cool.
Pacific Standard Time, art and science collide. That's the festival.
Wow.
And so this is part. So they have given the financing to Caltech, for example, and the presenter there, Michael Alexander, is producing this for Caltech for the Getty.
Getting back to Tesla.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he comes from Serbia. He's very tall and lanky. And he was very tall, thin guy.
Good looking.
Certainly compared to most of the people wandering around New York City, he was very
outstanding.
He was the sort of young man who people would think, oh, that man really knows how to carry himself. He looks like a gentleman. He behaves like a gentleman. He speaks fluent English. Actually, he spoke many languages, but it was, again, part of his family's gift to know this sort of thing. He also could read, basically almost do card tricks because he could read the deck and memorize it. He had a photographic memory.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he ever marry?
He never married, and in fact, my basic takeaway from his reading it is that he was far too focused on his work to the point of it driving him toward his compulsions, which were essentially like, I will walk around this building until my number of steps to get to the front door are divisible by 3.
Oh boy,
that was one of them.
OCD.
Yes. Essentially, when I started writing this play...
AC/DC OCD.
That's my musical choice.
Easy for you to say.
But he was on the spectrum before people were using the term on the spectrum.
Right.
But it was so focused on his work that as long as his work was there, it consumed him.
Right.
And
kind of like an Asperger's syndrome.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's I mean, I
That's a
sort
good
of
example.
want to resist
Yeah.
labels because
Right.
there were none of those labels then.
Right.
But what you did see was a man who was driven by his work, and he was, because of his sisters and his mother, he was very much in favor of women's suffrage. He was very progressive in his social ideas. And when he was in his prime and when there was opportunity for him to work on what he believed in, he was the most charismatic person in the room. And he proved that whenever he could showcase his latest discovery or his latest work. Now, it must be said, in the history of invention and electricity, he was not solely the person responsible for alternating current, but he was the one who made the biggest splash with it. Sorry, pun intended, for Niagara Falls.
Right.
And the
Slowly I turn.
Because what AC allowed to do, for people who aren't aware, if I understand it correctly, AC allowed the transmission of power over long distances, where
Yes.
DC, direct current, did not. And in New York, Tesla had a number. Well, didn't Edison have a number of power stations all over New York because
Absolutely,
because the power couldn't travel
they had
far?
To be, they had to be close. It was like they were forcing all of this power into a small tube,
And that
that's
created
what created a lot of explosions.
Yeah.
So he went out to Colorado, where he blew the town up,
Yes,
literally.
Colorado Springs. What a place!
Now,
and
why
what
did he
an
go
adventure.
there? Why? What brought him to Colorado Springs, and what the hell happened?
This is also a great story.
But he wanted a place where he could really do some major, large-scale, electrical experiments to see what we could do and get away with. And there was, at that point, Colorado Springs had more or less unlimited power from its various water sources and other sources available.
Oh, so that's what drew him, was the natural energy?
It was also just a place where he could have privacy and
Get away from New York and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And did he have a supporter there too?
Not really. No, he
just went out there.
He pretty much went out there. There were a combination of circumstances for why he left, including the fire that destroyed his lab in New York. And
there's that.
There's that, and that was a chance to get away and try to do large-scale experiments, which he couldn't do in New York.
Yes,
I mean,
that's right.
you're really
Yeah.
limited in your space in your labs,
Yeah.
but here he could take existing buildings or build his own buildings.
And that's one of his iconic, famous photographs of him sitting in a corner reading the paper or something with bolts of electricity flying all around him.
Without being a spoiler alert, it is a photo that they staged that was a double exposure. He was never in that room with that gigantic.
He would have been killed.
Thing. Right. And it was good PR, and by that time he had someone who was in charge of PR who
had a good imagination,
right? Who then also was there saying, "No, don't do it." When he was saying, "I don't care about competing with Marconi for getting a series of Morse code dots and dashes to a ship at sea. I'm looking at worldwide power, and I want to build something on the scale that can show the world what's possible with what we have now." And he proceeded in Colorado Springs to essentially melt down the entire power grid, such as it was, And that's one of my favorite moments in the play is when he gets an angry call from the person at the power station, cursing them out for their...
This was his attempt there to develop wireless global power?
Yes, and he was trying to pump it into the ground, and he would have on hillsides further and further away, essentially light bulbs plugged into the ground, and he could see how far the lights would light up when he would just pump this into the ground. It's kind of an absurd, but it was on a scale that was so outrageous. It's amazing that people weren't killed in the process.
I was going to say that rabbits weren't exploding all over.
Well, I'm wearing my Colorado cowboy hat because I just got back from Telluride, and that's a magical state. If he was attracted psychically to any state in the Union, Colorado is definitely the place to be.
Mm-hmm. The lightning that was prevalent in the hills around Colorado Springs, he was fascinated with that and trying to see if there was any way that he could actually harness it.
Okay. So he was trying to create wireless transmitted power on a global scale. That was his experiment in Colorado. Oops, blows up the town's power system. From there, he went to Long Island, or I don't know if
Yes, basically the next step was to try to get funding to pursue something that was so far beyond what any American capitalist would support.
What was that tower that he built on Long Island? Was that also intended to transmit power through the ground?
Wardenclyffe was actually looking at the possibilities of transmission through the air.
Right.
And it was just done on a scale where had he been able to finish it and fully test it, he might have come up with some major discoveries. But unfortunately, his source of funding, in this case J.P. Morgan, pulled the plug.
And tore the tower down by like 1907 or something. It was gone.
Right? Well,
or 17.
It was left in disrepair and decay. There's still certain things still there to say this is where Wardenclyffe's tower was.
And had he succeeded, his name would have been Tesla. Thank you. Try the veal.
He's here all season. So is it sort of like what AM radio does in terms of the ionosphere, bouncing off electrically and bouncing power? I mean, do you have any idea what he was thinking?
He was thinking that it would be able to transmit through the air, not so much using the clouds as just
direct line of sight.
Line of sight, and then hopefully beyond that to possibly other, repeaters, essentially, where it would get from here to here and then go.
But the voltage,
extenders,
would it be the voltage intense? You'd have to stay away from the line of sight voltage. Would it be lethal, or would it be? I don't. It's just such an extraordinary concept. I can't.
It never got beyond the conceptual stage.
So it never did happen.
So there was never a chance for him to even start it and see what would happen.
Okay, and this is now going towards the end years of his life,
right?
Because after that fell apart with J.P. Morgan, was there any other real successes after that, or was it decline from there?
No, and as you can imagine, with someone whose mind is racing along decades ahead of what most other people are even thinking about, he was trying to get federal funding, or essentially military funding, through World War I and the possibility of a World War II, or just, looking at ways to develop new weapons.
That's right. Now, that was another thing, that when he died, evidently people went right into his safe that he had in his hotel room because, folklore is that there were a secret designed for a death ray.
Right. This is in that gray area of folklore versus reality.
Yeah.
You have a man who's been living. Actually, the New Yorker was where he died, but the pattern that he had gotten into for some time before that was stay at a hotel until they're ready to kick you out, and then move to another hotel.
It's the Orson Welles philosophy.
Avoid paying for your hotel, and that was the last.
That's what he was
hotel.
doing. He was skipping bills.
He was skipping
Wow.
bills. He was
Wow.
skipping bills while promoting the idea that he was coming up with, a death ray
Fantastic
and
weapons.
things for weaponizing submarines and that sort of
Was
thing.
he really doing that, or was he saying he was doing that?
Mostly, I think, saying it because all of it required testing on at least
Yeah.
some kind of
course.
miniature scale, and he didn't even have the support for that.
It also seems to go against his nature to create weapons of mass destruction.
Well, there are many sides to Tesla's character, and what I wanted to write when I was working on it was again, because he was largely unknown and had been the forgotten man of American science. I just wanted to encourage people to find out more and want to know more and see what might have been or imagine what might have been. And he's always had a fringe fan base,
Fringe following.
and some of them are looking for ways to just promote their own fantasist dreams. But Tesla deserves better because he was, for a time, every bit as influential as Edison and far more charismatic and far more interesting. And just everyone wanted him at their big soirees in New York. He was a bon vivant in terms of women fawning over him, although he had really no time or use for
He had an electrifying personality.
Well, yes,
It
but
sparked attention.
he is, in that case, he was more AC than DC.
Are we seeing any of his concepts coming to life in modern society with the technology breakthroughs we're having now?
Well, if you look at his last 20 years when he's throwing out all of these ideas, like I could put a communicator in your pocket that would allow you to communicate with anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
What is that? That is our cell phone.
Holding it up right now.
And it must be pointed out that cell phones were not even
Conceived of.
No.
conceived of really until the 1980s. I mean, as far as something that wasn't like carrying a suitcase
Exactly,
and
yeah.
Well, Dick Tracy had it.
the Dick Tracy had it, yes.
Okay, so let's go back to the
He's referring to the wrist phone
how do you
for those youngsters out there.
That's true.
paint a picture, if you will, of his last days.
He's emaciated. He was injured in a car accident and never fully recovered from it.
dear, oh, dear.
Didn't have funding for
How old?
when he died. Let's see.
He was
Okay, so
86.
He was 86.
86.
Okay, so now he's had this brilliant life that has been just pretty much beaten down
Completely
and
yes.
destroyed by competition, egotistical, megalomaniacal Edison, and
Well, Edison was too busy with copyright court to be able
Yeah,
to
he was
do
very
much of anything in his later years. He
litigious.
was
but he had done his damage to Tesla.
yes, but he wasn't responsible for Tesla's downfall. It really
okay.
was people pulling the financial rug out from under
Wow.
him.
All right.
And if you are someone who needs a lab in order to do your experiments, and the bigger the experiment, the bigger the lab, and that was where Colorado Springs gave us a good shot.
Dan, this is very exciting. Share about what he was trying to get signals from outer space.
There was a point where he was listening essentially for signals out there, and he heard
From space.
a bleep, bleep, bleep that repeated with no. This was well before most other kinds of communication made anything like that possible, and it was impossible for him not to imagine this might be a signal from some other world.
Wow.
I think that unfortunately paints him more as someone on the fringes, but at that point he had no recourse to do what he was born to do. But it's a wonderful story. He was an incredible character. To tell his story, I wanted to humanize him and personalize his challenges. And with this amazing cast and with Michael's direction, it's
Now,
gonna
how
be
long
a
have you
great
and
time.
Michael been collaborating on this project?
Well, we've worked together on 2013 for the performance
Right.
you were in, and 2017 at Laguna Playhouse, and now resurrected in 20.
So, Michael, you really dedicated yourself with your energies and vision to realize.
Look at the subject matter; it's incredible.
It is.
But Michael, knowing Michael as long as I have, he's an excellent stage director. And
I can't wait to see what you've done with this.
We're going to come see it. We can't wait to see it.
And you can too.
Wonderful.
That one. Thank you so much.
Okay, and we're back, and we'll be back again next week.
Thank
you,
Duling.
Dan Duling. Thank you, Michael Arabian.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Tesla,
trip into the past and the future at the same time.
Tesla, a radio play for the stage at Caltech on October 4th through 6th, and then in Big Bear the following week. Don't miss it.
Be there or be square.
We'll see you next week.
More
Phil.
sexy next
You
time.
will.
Yeah.
And next time we'll talk about the pageant of the master.
Oh, yes.